Yeah, how's it going, people? It's Tamar. Living out another day, looking a bit scruffy, but fuck it. I've just finished my making of place probably 2 hours ago. Chilling with a mate, just talking about it afterwards. Like, oh my gosh. There's a reason I chose this, because I didn't think there was many exams. I've only had the one, but it's so fucked up. Like, I swear, the amount of, like, what's it called? The amount of revision I've done for this in the last 2 days alone, well, 2.5 days alone that I've been here in Bristol again, like, that's probably more revision than I've ever done for, like, all of my A-levels. Yeah, it's like, fuck. Like, you know, after I sat down in the exam hall, yeah, and you can hear the person's voice come on in loudspeaker, where they tell you the rules, phone's not on you, no pieces of paper and shit other than what's in front of you, no bottles with labels. Like, I swear it reminded me of my mom's voice, man. Like, you know them ones where you're sitting there watching TV and your favourite show's on and you just gas like nothing else in your mind, and then you hear the voice just call you. Like, for me it sounded like, Tamar. Like, that's the voice, yeah? And you just know, like, you just know right then exactly what's going to happen. Just raw going to beat me, blood? Because everything that you've ever done wrong in your life just flashes before you, and you're like, oh shit, is it this? Oh no, it might be that. But, you know when it's really bad and you pretend you never even heard it, you just carry on watching the TV, but instead of being happy, you just carry on watching the TV with a straight face, blood. And it'll repeat itself again. That's what it's like, blood. He may as well ask me, like, through the speakers if I preferred to fail. Like, that's how it felt. I've got a better example. So, you're about to get beaten. And everyone knows you're about to get beaten. You know you're about to get beaten. Your mum knows you get beaten. So, the fuck's playing music, but anyways, you got the stick now, yeah? You've got the stick, the slipper, the fucking belt, whatever it is, and it's in their hand. It's in their hand, and you just know it's gonna come. But instead of just whacking you with it and getting it over with, they just stare at you like for a minute, like, put out your hand. That is like the fucking worst thing in the world, because you've got to put out your hand. You've got to give yourself to them to get beaten. Like, I don't think people know what they do to their kids, but like, that's madness. That's basically what it was like when they asked me to sit down. When the guy's like, oh, you could take a seat over there. He's basically asking me, put out your hand. You fucking dickhead, blood. Like, I think 5 hours today I've been revising. Got up at like 7:30 or something. Ended up going back to sleep 8:30. Finished off my revision. I opened the paper. The first questions that came at me, I was raw smiling, man. Like, I was so glad. And then second question just happened to be what I looked at, but the problem was I didn't have the names or the dates or like basically the names and the dates, but I had all of like the locations and shit. Or I had one quote. Fuck it, if it goes well it does. Like, right now, if I get 40%, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't bitch about just getting the 40%. That's all I want. Like, you know them ones when you go into school and you walk in and you're just there, like, you read the notice and you're like, oh shit, I've got an exam today. And you see your mate and you're like, oh shit, have you got an exam today? And you're like, yeah, we actually do. And they're like, have you revised? And you're just there like, no. Because you know you're gonna pass. That's what it's like. You just know you're gonna pass, but it's the opposite here. It's like you know you're gonna fail. It's like, I think if I did more revision than I did, I'd still know I'm gonna fail. Because whenever, like, I like doing I didn't like psychology. I thought it was interesting and shit, but my teacher was a fucking wanker. But basically, you know what you need to revise. It's like, there's this study, there's that study, there's numbers throughout it all. You revise that. But with this, you look at that city, and while you're busy looking at that city, you realise, oh yeah, that guy from that city went over to that city and did something else. So you look at that, what he did in that city, then you have to look at the rest of the city, and then you find someone else that went to that city and did something else. And then you look at that city, and then you realise he did something else in that city as well, so you got to look at that. It's like, it goes off too much. You need to find quotes with people who said stuff that probably doesn't even matter anymore. But we're meant to know it. And then, like, there's basically 3 questions in the exam. First one is split off into 40 questions. I probably got like 50% on those. Second one, I really don't know how much the quotes mattered, but they did. I don't know, man. I don't know. But the third one, you're like, excuse me. But the third one, like, when I flicked the page over, I could have sworn, yeah, like, in the split second that I closed my eyes and saw my failure, a demon just came down and licked the back of my neck. Like, I felt it all down my fucking, like, fuck. Like, I just looked at the question, read that it was about the Renaissance, and I just knew I failed. I just knew that there was no point. So, out of the other 2 questions, there's a maximum of 70% that I could have got. I want 40. We'll see how that goes. The third question I didn't even attempt because, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even go to that lecture. I read up on it afterwards because I'm not a complete fucking retard. But the amount that I needed to know for it, I just hoped that didn't come up, to be honest, and it kind of did. So out of 70%, it could do well, it could not do well. Yeah. Basically revise the Renaissance next time, and it should be alright. Other than that, finally back in Bristol. While I was at home, it was like, I didn't have the motivation to do anything, so I didn't even upload the videos that I should have done, but I didn't. So, stuff from France I've actually still got. I will put it up, but instead of it being all together like I wanted it to be, it's just going to be this from France and probably something else. Then it'll be this from France and then something else and then this from France. So, yeah. Bear with me. Sorry about being so fucking lazy while I was at home. But stay swole, stay smart, stay swagged out, and I'll catch you later.